Welcome to Table for One. I'm the narrator, and in today's video, I want to show you some Etsy upgrades at long last for Anachrony. Let's get rolling. Alright, so I'm excited at long last to show you the products that are available for Anachrony as Etsy upgrades from Brain Bucket Games. I've said it many times on this channel, but if you weren't aware yet, Brain Bucket Games is a Etsy store that I co-own with a couple of my friends. My role there is to play games and say, hey, make this thing, and then they do all the magic. And magic it is indeed. The results are always pretty impressive in my opinion. And I've been dying to make some Anachrony pieces, and we are now done making things for Anachrony. So I'm going to show you what those are today. There are 3 different items that are available. And in this video, I'll also include a promotional code if you want to head over there and buy it at a 10% discount. The link is in the description. Again, it's Brain Bucket Games. The link is in the description for all of my videos. And then again, I'm just going to go over the pieces here in detail, and I'll show you how you can store them as well. I'll do that at the end. And then if you want to see these in action, I've also released a solo playthrough of Anachrony today where I use as many expansion modules as I can at one time. So you might enjoy checking that out too. But the first thing I want to show you is the Anachrony scoring dials. So I have one here, and let me set this to the side for a moment. You can see we took design inspiration from the Anachrony Infinity box or big box. So sort of this geometric aesthetic and some of the color scheme here. That is on the faceplate of all of these scoring dials. So I think that looks pretty slick. Let me just leave that up on the screen like that because that's nice. So this comes in a set of 5 because each one is in one of the Path player colors. So this one is green for Path of Harmony. I'll show you like a side-by-side in a moment. It's got a little bit of not a shine, but like kind of like a starry, I don't know, texture to it. It's pretty nice. That's on both sides. But it's got 2 dials that go from 0 to 9. So 0 to 9, obviously sequentially, as you might expect. Let me move this box out of the way here. And so the dials are really smooth. They're kind of like little gears. And so they kind of lock into place and they'll hold their position. So I show it briefly like on the Etsy store. We're like, okay, so I've got 37 here. Like you can really shake it and this thing's not going anywhere. I can... It's going to hold its spot, 37. So it does a really good job at holding its place. And again, so Anachrony is a game that comes with scoring dials. And if you've been watching this channel, you know it comes with a score pad. And if you've watched this channel, you know that I really don't care for score pads. I don't like to use them. So this is a really nice solution because adding up the score at the end of Anachrony can be a little bit of a daunting task. There's a lot of things going on. You've got all your victory point tokens, you've got your time travel track, your morale track, which could be positive or negative. You've got your buildings, you've got to subtract out anomalies. And then there's super projects, there's endgame objectives. You might lose some points on the timeline, which could be variable depending on whether they are warp tiles or quantum loop warp tiles, or if they are hypersync tiles. Those are different point values. You lose points for glitches, you may get bonus points from adventure cards or technology cards. You got to add in your experiment cards. Like you get the idea. There's so many things going on, and it can be really easy to lose track of what was my score again? I needed to add 7 to what? And then even when you do figure out your score, you know, at least in my group, you go around the table, you go to the next person, you go to the next person, and you're like, wait, what was my score again? What was your score? Was it 37 or 39? And you know, it's kind of a hassle. So this is nice because you just add it up and it'll hold your score in place. And again, it's got the different colors there for the different playable paths. So let me show you those real fast. So here is the Path of Harmony board for reference, and the green for Path of Harmony on the side of this one. Here's the blue Path of Dominance and the associated dial here. You can kind of see that's like a navy blue, which is fitting for the Navy vessel. The Path of Progress is very much golden, and this is the one I use in my solo playthrough video if you want to see that. But again, they've all got the nice sort of purple and silver with some translucency and white and black on top. That's like the box. Just the side is the player color. The Path of Salvation is very much red, not threatening at all. These are the good guys, right? So we've got this red border all around this one. And finally is the Path of Unity in purple. So we've got the purple border around this one. And then if you play with solo and you're playing against the Chronosis, obviously take your own color and then just give the Chronosis any other dial, and that works just fine. Okay, so those are the scoring dials. Let me show you the next piece. This is kind of the big one. So it's a two-parter. It's a Chronosis draw system that includes both the energy cores and the flux cores. So let me start with the Chronosis draw system, because that's really what got me started here. So when you play Anachrony, it's got these cardboard energy core tokens. And when you play solo against Chronosis, they give you these cardboard tokens, which are exhausted energy cores. And the instructions tell you to just take these at the beginning of the game. You take 5 of each and you throw them into a container that is not provided with the game. And it says, use a cup, use a bag, whatever. And you draw some of these out blindly. And depending on which ones you get, that tells you, what the Chronosis is going to do, how many suits it's going to power up in the power up phase. As I said, they don't give you a container. So the first thing we did is we made this custom draw bag. So this is a black microfiber bag. It's got black stitching and black drawstring here. And we've got this custom logo printed on it with the energy core symbol, which is pretty cool looking. So that's the first thing that comes in the kit. But then the other piece of this was you can buy these really nice acrylic upgrade tokens from the publisher. So these are the acrylic energy cores and these are the cardboard ones. And I like to use these, and I think a lot of other people do, but there is no acrylic version of these. And when you're drawing from the bag, you can very obviously feel the difference between this piece, which is a different material than the cardboard and has a bit of a 3D effect on it. So you can feel it very easily if you were to draw this out of the bag versus this. So it forced people who bought this nice upgrade to keep all these cardboard components in order to play Chronosis, and that was kind of a bummer. So what we've done is we've made these 3D printed energy cores that feel exactly the same as these 3D printed exhausted energy cores, and it's kind of the best of both worlds. So it's the same model, so all we do is change the filament color on this one. So the feel is going to be identical because it's the exact same model, but it does have some of that same 3D effect that's on the acrylic token, so you can kind of feel it. They're blank on the back, just like these. So they're really nice. They feel good, but they also feel identical to each other. So you can take all these and throw them in a draw bag. So if you don't want to use cardboard and you do want upgrades, but you also want to play solo, I would recommend this route. And then again, it comes with the drawback. And so you never need more than 5 of these exhausted energy cores. So we include 5 in the kit and then a dozen charged energy cores. So you start the game with 5. Getting up to 12 would be really tough. So if you're playing solo, then that's going to be enough for you. If you're playing with more people, then I'll come back to that in a moment. But let me get to the other part of the Chronosis draw system here, which is the flux cores. So it's the exact same problem. Fractures of Time comes with these cardboard flux core tokens. And then if you play solo, there are these empty flux casings, also cardboard, and exactly the same. It says put them in a cup, put them in a bag, whatever. No containers provided, and it says draw one out, and depending on if it's a regular flux core or an empty flux casing, that changes whether or not Chronosis is going to use that blink mechanism. And then there are these nice, I think I said acrylic, these might be painted resin upgrades here for the regular flux tokens, and they're a little bit translucent. It's kind of hard to tell on video, but they are a little translucent. But there are no upgrades for the empty flux casings. So again, you have to hold onto the cardboard if you want to play solo. So we have now devised our own upgraded 3D printed flux cores and empty flux casings, which again are identical models, so they feel identical, but these are the same sort of translucent purple that's being suggested by the cardboard and a little bit implemented by these tokens here. These definitely go on BrainBucket and take a look at the picture because it's hard to get on video, but they are translucent and it's super cool and fun to play with. And then these empty flux casings just have the clear filament, which is also translucent. I don't know if you can quite tell, but it's really satisfying and really cool. And they're super strong too, which I was surprised by because, they're translucent, so these are hollow. And I mean, I can really I can really crank down on them. These have a lot of strength, so that was nice to find. So now you can play your Chronosis system with these. You never need more than 3 of these empty Flux casings, so we include 3 of those, and again, a dozen of these, which should be enough for both you and Chronosis in most scenarios. And here is the custom draw bag. Again, it is a black bag, black accents with the stitching and the draw string, and then it's got the symbol here for the Flux token. It's just plain black on the back. And it's, I don't know, I think a good size. I think it's 15 centimeters this way by 13 this way, so it's just enough to like get my hand in and be able to get the pieces. It's not too tight, but it's not like oversized either. So this comes with this. And so let me grab these pieces back again and then bring these back out. So for the Chronosis draw system, when you order these, it comes with a dozen of these, a dozen of these, 3 of these, and 5 of these, plus the 2 bags. That's the basic kit. We call that the Chronosis Draw Kit or the Chronosis Draw System. So you can order that. Now, if you like to play with other people, if you're not just playing solo, if you want to play with 2, 3, or 4 players, then you may want additional of the regular energy cores and the regular flux cores, just so you can have enough to play with. You obviously wouldn't need any more of these empties, and you wouldn't need any additional bags. But if you want more of those, then we've got an add-on kit that adds another dozen energy cores, so it gets you up to 24, and 2 dozen flux cores, so it gets you up to 36. So that's very close to what you can buy with the original upgrades that were available for the game. So these would also, when you buy these, you get 24. When you buy these, you get 40. So we've got 4 fewer, but I would be shocked if anybody was using 36 of these. That is so many. And then I'll show you here if you've got the extra. So this includes all the extras. This is the storage tray that comes with the big box or the infinity box, whatever you've got, which are really the same thing. So these are the 24 minus 2, I guess 22 charged energy cores, and then the flux cores, there's 38 or 34 of them here, plus another 2. So you can definitely fit them all here, and that's what they look like. There's no problem fitting them in the designated space. And I guess I may as well show you some storage now. So if you've got this tray here, this is where the Chronosis components go, or the solo components. I've got it's the Chronobot flag on this side, Chronosis on the other side. So this is what this tray looks like. And it also stores the Guardians here. So I have got, I don't know if you can quite see, the exhausted energy cores just go in here, because the only time you need it is when you're playing solo. And then here are the empty flux casings. There's one more in here with these tokens. So these easily fit inside here. Now you could take the bags and try and flatten them out or roll them up or whatever and kind of stick them in here, but I don't really recommend that. I actually just store mine at the very top of the box. I'll show you that later. But you can also choose to store the tokens or the bags or both in this slot here. This is the tray that holds the items for Fractures of Time. So I've got my standard Anomaly buildings here because I've replaced them with the variable anomalies. And then these are the buildings that get replaced when you play with Fractures of Time. So I have swapped those out. And so this empty box, anyway, is specifically called out in this tray manual to store miscellaneous tokens or other components that don't have a designated spot. So if I chose, I could easily take these building components here and put them back in this spot here, and then this would be totally empty, and that would be a fine place to store some of these other components as well if you like. But those are energy cores and flux cores and the Chronosis drawing system. So let me put these aside for now. We'll come back to those at the end. And the next thing and final thing that I want to show you component-wise is paradox tokens. So here are the cardboard paradox tokens that come with Anachrony. They're cardboard pieces. They're fine. They are double-sided. And there is an upgrade available for these pieces here. And As far as upgrades go, the upgrade's pretty minor. So they are like a little bit thicker than cardboard, and you can feel the difference. But you can see, like looking at just these examples, they're not always printed centered, which kind of drives me nuts. And then they've all got like this little divot on one side. It must have been part of the manufacturing process. I don't know if you can see it that well. Oh, here it is on this one. And it's just it's a minor. It's a minor thing. I'll admit that. But aesthetically, it's not my favorite. The misalignment is the bigger issue in my opinion. I don't know if that's just my set, but I suspect not. So we wanted to make upgraded paradox tokens, and we wanted them to look a bit different than these, because I think a lot of the white space around here is a little bit wasted space. So we went with just the triangle itself, the same, but taking up the same footprint. So you can see there's like the same size as these and the same size as these, but they're also like the thickness of these pieces. And let's see if you can see this at all. The three different colors are separated by these like little wells, so it really makes them pop in a nice way. And then we managed to do that on the backside as well, which has a little bit of that sort of sparkle to it, which is the same effect that is on the scoring dial. So I think these look super nice. And if you have the storage system, they would go in this tray here. So you can see I've got these, and there are, I'm going to admit, a little bit more fun to play with if you've got just a handful in front of you. So I like trying to make the little symbol that you would find on the anomalies like this. I like doing that. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. I like doing this. It's just fun to play with, as you've got them in front of you. So they're good little fidget toys too. But our pack comes with 15. So that is the most, according to my own analysis, the most you would ever possibly need in one game. So if you're playing a 4-player game and somebody's the path of progress playing on the B side, and I know that there's a there is a lab that lets you store an extra one of these, and there is a adventure card that lets you have one, and I think there's an experiment, or not an experiment, a technology card that lets you have one. The most you could ever possibly use is 15. So that's how many we've got in the kit. So I think these are pretty cool. They're nice little upgrades. They're obviously different than these, so people will notice right away if this is what you've got, and I just think they look really nice. And if I take one of these player boards back out, I just think it really pops on here. So I'm very happy with those. So those are the paradox tokens. I guess I've already showed you where you can store those if you've got these storage trays just in their normal spot. And next, let me pack up the game and show you the big box where some of the components go on the top. So here's the big box with the bottom layer here. So I've got the Path of Unity, Path of Progress, Path of Salvation on the bottom layer. And then on top of this, we'll add the Path of Dominance here. The Path of Harmony goes here. And then we've got our solo components here with the energy, the exhausted energy cores and the empty flux casings inside. So let's put this right here. Then we add in our workers and our breakthroughs, our buildings, along with our common supplies here with the paradox tokens inside, and then our resources with all of the flux cores and energy cores. That goes right there. Then we add on top of that our components from Future Imperfect and some of our base game components, super projects, and the air tiles and some of the dice, and then the fractures of time components. And again, this is this well here that is designated for extra components. So you could put Chronosis pieces in there, including drawbacks, if that's something you want to do, but that's not where I put them. So let's keep going. On the final layer, we've got this tray here, and then the solo Chronosis board and all of the path boards slide under this well. Okay, now let's add all the other boards. So I always put the main board here, and then the 5 fracture devices go below it with the Guardians board, and then this evacuation board for the main board. And then I'll go ahead and add the Valley board here. Now this is where I store my scoring dials. So I just put these on top. You can fit 2 there, flip 2 the other way so the dials are facing each other. and there's plenty of room here for the 5th one. So this is where I put the scoring dials. They fit very cleanly here, so they're not sliding around too much. Then I add the Doomsday board and the Adventures board there. Intrigues of the Council and Hypersync go on top of those, and then all of the various booklets hold those down. And then there's still plenty of room at the bottom. I mean, it looks like there's more than an inch here, or at the top, I should say, not the bottom. This is where I throw the bags, so you can just put them one on top of the other, or wherever. You can kind of roll them up on the side over here if you like, but there's plenty of room. Like, I can fit my whole hand under the top of this box here, so tons of room. I just throw the bags on top. And there's even enough room that if you wanted to store the energy cores and flux cores in them, you could easily do that here as well. So that is how I store the Etsy upgrade items for Anachrony in the big box. So if you got the big box, which is the same as the Infinity box, you can do the same. And if you have things just in the individual boxes, you've got plenty of room. You've got more than enough room. You can store them in baggies. You should have no issue with that at all. So that is my Etsy showcase for the Anachrony pieces. And as promised, on the screen now, I will add the promo code. This promo code will be good through the month of June in 2025. So the code is live as of this video posting, but it'll be good through the end of June 2025. So if you want to go over to Brain Bucket Games, again, link in the description, you can get any or all of these Anachrony items and get a 10% discount. And I'll mention here, again, if you're shipping to the US, shipping is free. If you're shipping internationally, so not in the US, because that's where I'm based, then send us a message on Etsy. Not typically, but sometimes we can find cheaper shipping rates than what Etsy calculates. So if we can find a cheaper shipping rate for you, we will, because we're not looking to make any money on shipping. We're just trying to get you your pieces. So if that's an issue, we're definitely looking to work with you on it. But that's what I've got for you this time. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them for you. And you can always feel free to reach out on Brain Bucket Games on Etsy as well. We're more than happy to talk to you over there and answer questions and help you out. And then don't forget, check out the solo playthrough that I'm going to link to at the end of this video if you want to see some of these components, or all of these components, I should say, in action. But that's what I've got for you this time on Table for One. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.